I guess the lesson of today's video is that it's not easy being green. Welcome everybody to JG9 News, where we talk all things NFL all the time. I'm Jaguar9, representing the 904 from the 602, and today we are talking about the two teams behind me right here, the Philadelphia Eagles and the Green Bay Packers, as they get ready for their opening week game in Brazil on a Friday night. We've talked about this game at length before in terms of the game being on Peacock, the game being on a Friday night, which has not happened since 1970. The fact that it's the first time ever that two teams are playing in Brazil. And now we have some more controversy involving the game, involving the Philadelphia Eagles, the home team, because if you know the Eagles well, you know that their primary color is green. And that could be a problem, considering the fact that the stadium that they're playing the game in doesn't really take too kindly to the color green. This according to the Daily Mail. Now, yes, I know the Daily Mail is not exactly the best source in the world, but it has been picked up by a few other outlets, so I figure it is worth mentioning and talking about today. The Daily Mail say that the Philadelphia Eagles could be banned from wearing their traditional green home jerseys when they head to Brazil to face the Green Bay Packers later this year in September. On the opening weekend of the 2024 season, the NFL is going to play the game between Philadelphia and Green Bay. We're 4 months out from the historic event. The Eagles already have a dilemma to overcome because of the color of their jersey, the designated home team. Because of their fierce rivalry with fellow Brazilian soccer club Palmeiras, Corinthians have an informal ban on the color green, which is worn by their arch nemesis. Players and fans are forbidden from wearing green. You can even see signage outside the stadium that says you cannot wear the color green due to the rivalry that Corinthians has with Palmeiras. It is almost like if you were to have in the NBA, the Lakers and the Clippers having a rivalry, and the Clippers have a home game and they ban the color purple. You cannot wear the color purple going to a Clippers game because it is the color of the Lakers. It's almost kind of what this is like, although obviously way, way more intense. Now, the NFL really did not think this one through. If you don't want teams wearing green, and there's signage all around the stadium that you can't wear green, why would you pick the Packers and the Eagles? Why would you pick two teams whose primary color is green? The Philadelphia Eagles wear green. The Green Bay Packers wear green. You could have picked any other combination of two teams. You could have had the Cleveland Browns in this game and avoided this mess entirely. And yes, you might be saying, well, the NFL could get around this by having the Green Bay Packers wear white and the Eagles wearing black uniforms, because you can't really have the Eagles wearing white and the Packers wearing a colored uniform because it would be green. They don't have a yellow alternate. They don't use the throwback alternate anymore. Those blue uniforms from the 1920s with the circle and the number, they don't use those anymore. So you could have white and black, and the Eagles wearing black and the Packers wearing white, but do the Eagles really want to do that? I don't think the Eagles would want to do that, because why would you want to wear an alternate? If you're going to play a game internationally, the point of the game internationally is to grow your brand, to increase your brand awareness. And you're going to be wearing jerseys that no one associates you with. You're going to be wearing jerseys that you rarely wear. You're going to be wearing jerseys that no one thinks of when they think of the Eagles. That doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense. It would just cause a lot of brand confusion in the process. It would almost feel like the Red Sox playing a game internationally in London and wearing their City Connect jerseys. It would almost feel like Man City doing a tour of the United States over the summer and wearing third kits that aren't red or white, wearing another weird color that is not associated with Man United. The Eagles are not a black team. The Eagles, yes, they have black alternates, but they are not a black team. Why would you want to wear black jerseys and make your brand awareness not the best? I don't know, but that might be the position that the Eagles find themselves stuck in if they cannot wear the color green because they're the home team, and as a home team, you're not allowed to wear green inside this stadium. Now, the NFL really dropped the ball here. The NFL tremendously dropped the ball here because they should have known this. They should have known the culture and the traditions and not schedule two teams that wear green, where you're going to have one of these teams wearing green unless they want to wear an alternate jersey. You should have known this or picked a different stadium. When you're planning an event that's costing millions of dollars, ignorance is not an excuse. Ignorance is not an excuse when it comes to the NFL. We were taking a game from the Eagles from home, moving internationally. They had to know. They had to know that this was going to be a problem. And sure enough, it might be a problem because now you're either going to have a team wearing green, which could cause a problem in that stadium because it violates the rules, or you're going to have the Eagles wearing their alternate jerseys that no one associates them with, and it's not going to be as effective for their brand as it would have been otherwise. The NFL has screwed the Philadelphia Eagles over every single step of the way here. Number one, they take a home game away from them, which is bad enough as it is. Yes, they have 9 home games this year, so it's not the end of the world that you go from 9 to 8, but still, they're taking a home game away from them. Then you take away a home game against the Packers, which is a game that you were going to draw a ton of ticket revenue for compared to the Browns, the other team that was talked about. You take away a home game against the Packers, which could be big in terms of the wild card and the tiebreaker, because the Eagles might have to fight with the Packers for a playoff spot and for seeding. And the Packers have an extra home game than you. They have 9, you have 8, so they have an advantage in that regard. And at least with the Browns, you're not gifting another team in your conference an advantage. On top of that, you take away a home game and you put it against the Packers, which essentially makes your game a road game because the Packers are the most popular team in Brazil. I've talked about that before, but there's a 3-to-1 ratio of Packers fans to Eagles fans. So that stadium, even though the Eagles are the home team, it's going to be 75% Green Bay if the ratios are anything to go off of. And on top of that, you're prevented from wearing green in your home uniform, thereby preventing you from wearing your established brand. So it defeats the entire purpose of the trip. But I have to also ask, with this stadium ban on the color green, is this a safe game? I have to, honestly, is this going to be a safe experience for the fans that go? Because, yes, you can control what happens inside the stadium. I'm not worried about security inside the stadium once you're inside the gates. But outside the stadium, I'm not so sure. Like, genuinely, I'm not sure. Because there are going to be some Corinthians fans who don't know the NFL is happening. Because obviously, you don't know everything that's taking place inside your stadium in your own backyard. Look, I live in Phoenix. I can't tell you everything that's happening at the Footprint Center. I can't tell you what concerts are taking place at the Footprint Center. I know some of them, obviously, but I don't know them all. There might be some fans that don't know that the NFL is taking place at that stadium, so they're going to see a herd of people in green shirts around, and it could get very ugly. And if you think I'm overreacting, 2017, you had this story that came out. A man died of stab wounds after Corinthians fans stabbed him to death. Presumably, he was wearing the color green as a Palmeiras fan. 2016, you had a bystander that was killed in a fight involving Corinthians fans against Palmeiras. You've seen tons of other stories over the past few years about fights between the two fan bases and fights between Corinthians fans and people wearing the color green. Is this going to be safe? Like, genuinely, is this going to be a safe experience outside the stadium? I have no clue. I think the NFL really, really dropped the ball here. And I was excited about going to Brazil. I was really excited about going to Brazil. But the more that has come out about this, especially this entire debacle with the Eagles and their uniforms, the more skeptical I am that this might go the way the NFL wants it to. The first game in Brazil looks like a disaster at this rate, but we are still 4.5 months away. There's still a lot of questions to be asked. And again, nothing official yet in terms of the Eagles and whether they're going to wear their green jerseys or not, whether they're allowed to wear their green jerseys, whether the Packers will wear green jerseys and the Eagles will wear white, but we will have to wait and see on that. Either way, another development in this bizarre saga involving the Brazil game where we really know everything and nothing at the same time. But what are your thoughts on this ban? Do you think the Eagles will end up wearing their green jerseys? Do you think this ban makes sense? Do you think the NFL should have known this and should have planned around this? Do you think the NFL should play a game in Brazil? And if so, do you think it should be at this stadium? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And that is going to do it for this episode of JJ9 News. Be sure you like and subscribe. It helps the channel out a lot. And be sure to check out my main channel, JaguarGator9, where we talk all things NFL history all the time. And we also stream all the UFL games. And we are streaming that Packers-Eagles game in Brazil on that Friday night. So be sure to be there to watch that action unfold on this channel. Until next time, JaguarGator9 signing off. And as always, go Jags.